Hey guys, welcome to Cheap Old Cars and Audio. My name's John. So, a little bit of story time today. I went on vacation this last week and, I'm rather impressed with the handling of our '05 Escalade. Now, I can feel it already. '05 Escalade can't handle for crap. Those giant GMT 800 Escalades, all-wheel drive, heavy. No, they really can't handle that well. They don't, right? But on kind of fast sweepers, banked sweepers, on a 55 mile an hour road, so 90 to 100 is probably car impounded or major ticket. So max you might want to push it 75, 80, 20, 25 mile an hour over the speed limit. It does all right. It did pretty well, and so we were the fastest ones out there. on my vacation, on the drive, it's mostly interstate. So you run up north on the interstate for a ways, then you turn east and you run down a little bit of 2-lane road, then you get back on some 2-lane divided state highway. Okay, not interstate because there's a few stoplights and there's a few crossroads and things. So it's not state highway. That's 65 mile an hour. You cruise along pretty good, 70, 75. Maybe you bump it up near 80, but there are cops on that road, so 10 over is about all I'm willing to push. They know everybody's going up for vacation, and it's a bunch of tax revenue for the state for all the vacation people, so the cops don't hassle you too much. I know that. Okay. But then there's a curvy section. It's about 20 miles long. It's not like in a car that handles well. They're not really curves, right? It's stuff you could do at 120 mile an hour pretty easy, okay? Not many people drive that type of car, though. And so, in the cars out there that day, I was willing to push the hardest, and I was the fastest. So there's a few lanes. It's through the mountains. It's curvy. It's hilly. You get to some sections where there's some passing areas, right? There's like a passing area in this side, and then you get a ways, and there's a passing area on the oncoming. Then a ways further, there's another, and so another passing area, right? So there's kind of swaps back and forth, and I got around some cars, got up to about 80 and stuff, but there was a GMT 800 crew cab 2500 Victory red Chevy truck behind me. And he was wanting to push it pretty hard. To be honest, I don't know what engine it had. I saw some black smoke, but I couldn't really hear it at all. It might have been a diesel, okay? And if it was a diesel, I'm sure it was tuned, whatever. So anyway, he was staying with me around my bumper. I moved over, let him by. It's like, I'm not interested in being the first one to meet the cop at 30 mile an hour over the speed limit or whatever. So I'll let somebody else do it. And that's my typical MO. Find somebody that's willing to push. Go let them set the pace, right? Because not that I'm a great driver or anything, and not that the Escalade can handle well, but I can go down that road fast enough that I could go to jail. So I let this old boy set the pace. No clue who he was or anything. He was being aggressive right on my bumper, and I let him take it, because go for it, buddy. You meet the cop first. We did meet a cop going 80 in a 55, and the cop didn't even care. I didn't even see brake lights from him. He didn't even threaten us. Anywho, so I let him pull out for a little bit, and he's running away, and he's going on down the road. And my wife's in the back seat with my son, and they're just watching. What were they? They were watching a movie on the little drop-down seat disc player thing. And I said, "Hey, you getting car sick on this trip?" Because she gets car sick a lot, really easily and really bad. And she's like, "No, this is great. I haven't got car sick at all." I said, "Okay, can I push it a little bit? Because I'm not one to be like I'm better or anything like that. I just want to know that I can do it, right?" And my thing is corners. I love corners. And I maybe when it comes to corners, because I'm not typically a competitive person, but when it comes to corners, maybe I do want the other person to know that I can get through that corner faster than they can, or faster than they're willing to. That's not typical for me. I'm not like a drag racer. I don't go out and try to prove that I'm fast or whatever. Like when it comes to corners, I guess I kind of am. So whatever, right? That's I guess, I don't know. Moving on. And so I asked my wife, I said, "Hey, don't want to make you car sick. How you feeling?" She's like, I'm good. I haven't got car sick at all so far." I was like, "Can I push it a little bit? I don't want to make you sick, make you miserable." Because when you get car sick, you're like crappy feeling for the rest of the day. And I don't want that to be the first day of her vacation. So it's like, I asked her, can I push it a little bit? She's like, she goes, don't break my car. Yes, ma'am. So I hit the tow haul button so it'd keep a gear a little bit longer, how they do. And 2 or 3 corners, I had that boy caught up. Not that I was going fast in the straight. I don't think I ever got over 80, right? He was doing 90 to 100 in some of the straights, but on these roads like this, you don't make your time in the straights. You make your time in the corners. Now, I don't have any kind of scientific proof behind that, and I've had people argue with me. However, I do know that I can set a top speed on a road because I've done this with some people in the past. I have a speed limit that I'm willing to go to, and they can go beyond that, and I will get down the road faster than they do because I take the corners a lot faster. Now, I'm also going to be a little bit proud of myself here because I was extremely smooth. Used every bit of my lane, didn't cross the mustard at all. Definitely crossed the fog line a bit, not the mustard. Mayo, you can dip into that a little bit. I'm not too worried about it. Anywho, so 2 or 3 corners had this guy caught up. So I'm staying with him. I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to race. I'm not trying to do this stuff. So I kept, 5, 6, 7 car lengths back, whatever. But when we get to a particularly curvy section, I would draw back off him a little bit and then catch him through the corner. So we're through the corners and stuff. It was really fun. And again, it's an Escalade, right? It's on 275, 55, 20 BFG trail terrains. It doesn't handle well. However, no one caught me. No one caught up to us. We were chugging along pretty good. Basically, we were at the sane limit of what you were willing to do and what we kind of knew the cops would allow out through there. And like I said, we both come around the corner at 80. And it's a 55 mile an hour area. Met a cop, and he was just like, I didn't even look. The dude in front of me, he didn't touch his brakes. I didn't touch my brakes. You never want to let the cops know, I'm on the brakes to be slowing down, because then they know that you were going too fast. And he didn't start to turn around or act like anything. We just kept on trucking. Man, we made good time too. The drive is typically a 2.5. On Google Maps, it says 2 hours 25 minutes. Man, we made that in 2 hours 12 minutes. We were hauling. Anyway, and so on the way back, I told my son, I was like, we got 11 miles per gallon on the way up here. I'm going to cruise on the way back. We'll go chill. I couldn't do it. I got to the Curvy section and I'm going through stuff and didn't get to do as well in that section, because there was a lot more traffic coming back. There were a lot of 18-wheelers. And so you get, a dump truck passing an 18-wheeler, and that takes the whole passing area, and then it's over back down the one lane, and you just got to wait till the next one. So it was a little slower coming back home. We still made pretty good time, though. Let's see. And so then, now I have a better understanding of that Escalade, because I haven't really pushed it in the corners before. And I never had it to the point of tire squealing, though, right? So I'm not pushing it that hard. But again, no one caught me on this whole entire road, right? I don't know. So it's whatever. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't have to be out there in a McLaren or Ferrari or, a Ford Dark Horse, Mustang Dark Horse, whatever. You don't have to have the stickiest tires and all the crazy stuff to have fun. Just, if you're going to a reasonable limit of the vehicle, and it's fun. It's fun. You don't have to have the crazy stuff. If I was a really, really rich man, or became a really, really rich person at some point in the future, I don't think I'm ever going to do that. I definitely will have a lot of cars. That's my hobby, and it's fun. But I don't think I'm ever going to have the latest and greatest this or that, because honestly, you can have a ton of fun in a Miata, right? You don't have to have all the power and all the grip and everything. Anywho, so coming home from church today, there was a big crew cab, new F-250 or 350, I don't know, big Ford. And I was passing some people, the speed limit down the stretch of road 75, and I was doing about 80. And I'm passing a few people, and I'm not one to hold up the left lane. I won't floor it to get out of the way, but when there's a chance to move over, I'll move over and let people by. I don't have that much of an ego that I don't let people pass me. But I'm cruising down through there. There's a couple cars coming up, and I'm passing, and then I start to move over. But there's a few big gaps back behind us too, and this Ford truck's right on my butt. We're in that Escalade again. He is right on my butt. Okay, he's just like tailgating me. I was like, okay, dude, chill out. And so I move over because whatever, let him go on down the road and get in a wreck or get his ticket, whatever. I don't care. He floors it by us, and it's a diesel, and it's probably got an exhaust on it. Excuse me, and it's, I'm assuming, tuned because it took off pretty quick. And then he whips over in front of another car and makes them slam on the brakes. And I was like, oh, that's not cool. Let's not do that, And then he gets off at the exit that I was going to get off of. And I was like, okay. All right, I know what this Escalade can do, so let's see what we can do here. And so this exit, you get off the interstate, and then you go a little bit to the right, and it splits into two lanes, and then wraps all the way back around almost 180 degrees. But two lanes, and it's banked. It's banked really well. And so I look over at my wife. I was like, can I show this dude his $100,000 truck ain't as fast as he thinks it is in our $6,000 Escalade, right? And she goes, don't wreck. Alrighty. So that dude, most of the cars on that, for whatever reason, they stay in the right lane. That dude in that Ford, he drops down to the inside lane, and I hear the exhaust, and he's trying to go, and I just right up on his butt around the corner. And in the middle of the corner, there's a bridge that you go over because there's a big creek that runs underneath it. And like we hit that hard enough in the Escalade that I felt the tires hop a little bit sideways as they hit the metal expansion joint, and the little bump there, and a little squeak. And I was like, okay, well, we got this. And this was so funny. I was laughing so hard because I'm on his butt through the whole corner. And I see him because he doesn't have tint on the windows. He's looking in the mirror, and he's mad. He's doing all kinds of stuff in the truck. And I just leaned forward up until where the light was shining in through the window. I was like, come on, let's go, Hoss. As soon as we got to the straightaway, like I don't know if he was giving it everything he got in the corner, but he was giving it everything he could do in that corner. But we got to that straightaway, and he just took off like a shot. I was laughing so hard. I mean, I wasn't about to do that. We were already going over the speed limit through the corner, and there are cops on that road, so I was not about to do that. But that was hilarious. And then the thing was, I was getting off at when that off-ramp goes around the corner, another off-ramp blends onto it, and then it becomes its own road, but then there's another off-ramp that goes off of it, and that was going right there, so I just had to get off and go there anyway. But oh my gosh, absolutely hilarious. And I don't think most people get it because almost everybody's in the straight line. How much horsepower you got? What can you do in the quarter? What can you do in the eighth? Can you beat this car? And all these Corvettes and Camaros and Mustangs and all these things are coming out that have like crazy lap times around this track, and everybody will sit there and argue lap times and all the stuff. But when it all comes down to it, like 99% of people just drag race. And there's just a few crazy goobers like me that like to go around corners. I might not be 99, probably 75-80% of people they just want to go straight line drag race and see if they can beat the car beside them. And there's a few of us crazies that like the corners. So anyway, that's my story. That's it. I don't think I'm even going to cut this thing. I've been rambling for 14 minutes and my throat's getting dry. So I'm John with Cheap Old Cars and Audio. That's my story about hustling a 6,000-pound 20-year-old Escalade through some corners on some light off-road tires. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed this. Like and subscribe. Click the notification bell so you see the next stuff. I'm going to be out filming some driving videos this week if it doesn't rain too much, because you can only push it so hard in the rain on the tires that I have. Anywho, like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.